daylight coming and may want to go home, so we got to jump in the line. Now that you had to deal with all that craziness, welcome everyone to the Progressives Review, your progressive wrestling review show here at VC Wrestle Pod. Of course, I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and I am here this evening to review chapter 185 of Progress Wrestling, Jump in the Line. So I am super excited. I've been having such a fun time with Progress Wrestling this year. The summer has been a blast. We ended the summer with 100 volts. We had Camden lock up, and now we are here at Jump in the Line, which means that there are only 3 shows left for Progress, which I'm going to talk about at the very end of the show. But before we get into everything, if you are new to BC Wrestle Pod, and you want to be able to interact with us, you can subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Twitch or Kick. You can also follow us on all the social media platforms at BC WrestlePod, where we do our report cards, we do all the fun stuff, we do give you previews of the weekly shows, and it's a great time. We also have merchandise at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. And yeah, that is how you can interact with us. We also have a little coffee bot who will be popping up in this episode at some point. And if you would like to donate us that way, you can click our link and help us keep the metaphorical and physical lights on sometimes, as well as help pay for extra costs here at BC WrestlePod. Without further ado, let's just get into this. So my thoughts on Jump in the Line, I had such a fun time with this show. I think Progress did a really smart job in the way that we had matches. I had a fun time, and this was a really strong show, and Progress continues to do really well for the small amount of roster that they have, and, just having amazing British wrestling just in general. So let us just jump into it, because we kick things off with our first match, which is Hyperactive versus Laylee. So Laylee does come out to open the show dressed up as minions from, the Despicable Me franchise, and they are funny together. Of course, Hyperactive, it makes their quote-unquote Progress debut here, where they come out, they want to fight, and they're going to fight Laylee, and so this match is made for now. So the tag team match itself, I had a blast watching it. Laylee was funny. We had some fun comedy wrestling and some good and actual wrestling. We had a whole banana spot, which was hilarious. And shout out to the commentary team, by the way, for coming out as the Dudleys. That was fun to watch. But we had a whole banana spot, and this was ridiculous, but in the best way possible. And you know what? I have to say, I'm very unfamiliar with Hyperactive, but after this match, I kind of am going to look up more of their stuff, because they're great. They have really good chemistry as a tag team together. Laylee was a lot of fun to watch in this as like our comedy kind of tag team. And yeah, Hyperactive pick up the win here in our opening bout. So I have to go check out more of Hyperactive's work as a team and individual, because they are both great. Laylee is fantastic and fun to watch. And I look forward to seeing what's next for both teams as we go into the final 3 shows of 2025 for Progress. After this match, we get into another one where we get a singles bout. This time, we have Gene Money taking on our Pro Wrestling Noah transplant, Owada-san. And I have to be honest, I wasn't sure what direction we were heading with Owada-san, because since getting here, every match that he's had in Progress has ended in a loss. And spoiler alert, this one was no different for Owada-san. I do like that Owada-san, unlike his previous bouts, was more aggressive and more willing to do what needs to be done in order to win. Gene Money has grown on me too, going from a despicable heel to kind of a lovable goofball. And of course, being accompanied by Session Moth Martina. Love her to death too. This is a really fun bout. So I am aware that Gene Money does spend time in Japan, and he does train some of the Japanese wrestlers, especially when they come over to the British lands to wrestle in British style of wrestling. And it seems that Gene Money has been training Owada-san and teaching Owada-san different things about British wrestling. And this match actually was definitely showing. These were 2 people who were very comfortable working together in the ring. And I had a blast watching this one. Gene Money does pick up the victory here, but it is what happens after the match that I was laughing so freaking hard because Gene Money's like, "Oh my gosh, Owada-san is my long lost nephew or my brother or my son." And Session Moth Martinez like, "Have you absolutely lost your mind? Are you off your rocker? What is happening?" And so it seems we're gonna get more of Gene Money and Owada-san, which is very funny for Gene Money's character. And Gene Money is one of those wrestlers since I've been watching Progress this year that the character kind of is like at the forefront, but underneath that is a very solid and a very good wrestler. So I'm excited to see more of G Money and Owada-san. Hopefully, fingers crossed that Owada-san can start picking up some wins here in Progress because I think he is a really fun addition as he is on excursion here in Progress Wrestling. And this was a joy and a blast to watch. Moving on, we get into our third match of the evening, which was a bit of a short one, but it definitely plays into what I'm going to discuss a little bit later in the show. But we are getting Simon Miller versus Mulligan. So at Camden Lockup, Simon Miller was facing Josh Hawley. And Josh Hawley was just running his mouth leading into Camden Lock-In, chapter 184, talking about how Simon Miller is not a good wrestler. He's not that guy. He's not about that life. And Simon Miller ended up beating him in less than 30 seconds. So now Josh Hawley wanting to get revenge, but not, facing Simon himself. He brings out one of the tallest mofos I have ever seen in my life recently in Mulligan. So I was like, oh my God, this man is tall. But of course, Simon Miller, being our lovable ups and downs bald man that he is, able to put away Mulligan in a very short match. So I don't have too many opinions on this. I think definitely this was a match to vehicle Simon Miller into a win, and to watch Mulligan, destroy Josh Hawley was also a bonus. But this was to get Simon Miller to what we would be talking about later in the show, which I'll discuss now. Whew, sorry, it's been a long day. So, Charlie Sterling comes out and he wants a match. He's tired of waiting. Simon Miller comes out because Simon and Charlie have history. And so Simon gets some challenges and gets a match made for him and Charles Sterling at Vendetta in November. So we are getting Vendetta, which is going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait. It's going to be fantastic. So this was a match. It was fine. I don't think anything was inherently wrong with it. I mean, it was a bit short, but again, this match was a vehicle to get to the match that was being made for Vendetta 3 between Simon Miller and Charles Sterling. But I wanted to see Mulligan more in Progress Wrestling. I would love to see how his size deals with the craziness of our characters, of our cavalcade, carnival of characters, if you will. But you know what? I didn't hate this match. Y'all get one of these. This match gets one of these. So, oh my gosh. I don't even know where to begin with this one because this match was everything. This was my favorite match of the entire night. Not just for the moment at the end, but I think this was a really strong match. And honestly, I think it's probably in my top 10 of the year. This was so much fun. But we get not Ring of Honor. We get the Progress Lanes Women's Championship. This is, of course, our dominant champion, Rio, taking on the challenger and Miss Rain Leverkusen. I love Rain so much. She has been the talk of the Progress Town since the beginning of the summer this year. And what a fight. This was such a phenomenal match. I know Triller and in these financial times might not be, a thing for everyone. And please, lead by financially responsible. Take care of yourself in a way that works for you. But I highly recommend everyone at least getting a 7-day free trial of Triller and watching this match. This match was so good, and it continues to prove my point that the women across any promotion, whether it's here in the States or international, they are the backbone and they are the guiding light of this business. They are holding it down, having amazing matches, and this was no exception. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting Rio to retain her championship, but after a long hard bout, Rain, of course, does a surprise roll-up-ish kind of thing, but not really. But she takes Rio off guard to pin her, and your winner and new Progress Women's Champion, Miss Rain Leverkusen. And I have to give one of these. The crowd celebrated with her afterwards. Rio showed her all. The era of Make It Rain is here. I'm so excited to see what she does as champion, where this championship bout goes. Oh man, she has become one of my new favorites over the last couple of months, not just in Progress, but in the independents as well. I love her look. I love her character. And I am so happy to see where Rain as Progress Women's Champion goes. Favorite match of the whole entire card. And this was hard because there were a couple matches that were really fun later. But this one was my match of the night because of how amazing and the in ring psychology was, as well as the feel good moment of Rain winning. And this is what kind of carried us through the first half of the show. So we get a little bit of a break, and then we begin with the second half of the show, kicking things off with a Progress Atlas Championship match. Of course, this is our newest champ, Will Cruz, who is freshly 67 days at the time of us watching Jump in the Line as Progress Atlas champion. He won this at Camden Lockup by defeating Gene Money, which was a lot of fun to do him do that. So, and he, of course, he's taking on one of my personal favorites, the lovable twat himself, Charles Crowley, who has just returned from a stint in Japan. And again, my only real complaint was how short it was, but this was amazing, and I had a blast with this one. In our semi-main event, in another fantastic bout, we get the Progress Men's Championship. This is, of course, our champion man like Darice taking on Leo Rush. But oh no, it is not just Leo Rush. We get the Blackheart version of Leo Rush. I love when Leo does Blackheart. I am a spooky person. I love the gothic aesthetic. I love me some supernatural horror in my wrestling. And the Blackheart character is so good. This was such a fantastic match. Leo Rush, man like Darice, both of them knocked it out of the park. I thought Leo Rush tapping into the acting chops and playing this crazy character and this vicious character when he snaps between the two dichotomies of it was fun. Darice has been working for this championship forever, and he is continuing to be a really fun Progress Men's champion. Darice does end up retaining, no surprise there, but what makes me excited is after the match, Darice gets his, championship, his custom championship from the bag. And as he pulls it out to celebrate, it is covered in black feathers and what looks to be blood. So Cara Noir is in the shadows, and he is coming for Darice and that Progress Men's Championship. So I'm excited. I'm pretty sure we're getting that match at Vendetta 3 or even at Unboxing, but who knows? But Rain and Rio pulled it out slightly to be that match of the night. We get into our main event, which is a triple threat ladder match for the Progress Wrestling Tag Team Championships. So in this match, we have our current champs, Lycos Gym, defending the titles against their eternal rivals of, TK Cooper and Chuck Lambeau of Sunshine Machine, and also taking on Nico and Mills of Diamond Eyes. This was a nutty match. There was some nasty bumps, which was crazy. We had some crazy top rope maneuvers. We had blood. We had chair shots. It was nuts. Towards the tail end of this match, of course, Kid Lycos loaded up the knee pad with some metal plates like he has done before to try to get the win. But it backfired because he knocks out his tag team partner in Kid Lycos 2, which then we saw Sunshine Machine incapacitated after all of that. And it would allow Nico and Mills to climb up the ladder and get the Progress and your winner and new Progress Tag Team champions in Diamond Eyes. I'm really interested to see where we go. What does this mean for Lycos Gym? I'm excited to see where Diamond Eyes take the tag team championships. And what a main event. This was fun. This was brutal. I'm a sick freak and I loved every minute of it. Congratulations to Nico and Mills. I'm excited to see where their tag team championship reign goes. But that's going to be it for me here at the Progressive Review. Thank you for joining me for reviewing Jump in D. We have one more thing coming up for this week, which is our WWE review this Sunday, where we will be reviewing Raw and SmackDown and just hanging out and talking about all the stuff that the Fed has got going on. But this has been Mikey, the WrestlePod, bringing you all my review for Jump in the Line. So until next time, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll see you Sunday for our WWE review, but until then, and until next time, peace.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.